Building a van could be incredibly expensive or super cheap, just depending on what you want to do.
Today we're gonna break down everything that we paid to build our beautiful tiny home on wheels so you can get an idea for your budget too.
I think we're somewhere in the middle. What do you think?
I don't know, we're about to find out.
Do you want to say hi to everybody? Listen, you're doing this next one. You say to them, you know what to say to them, right? First things first, you need a van.
Our first van was a 2003 Dodge Sprinter that cost us $4,000. We then put another $2 grand into the engine, and within a year of travel, probably another $5 into fixing it.
So that totals to $11,000 for the van itself. For our second van, we wanted something that we didn't have to work on while we were on the road. So we went new.
New-ish.
This is a 2019 Ram Promaster 3500 Extended.
When we say extended, we mean from this seam to the end. So all that extra money that you pay for an extended Promaster is this many inches. It's not that much.
Well, for us guys, it might be.
When we bought it, it only had 5,000 miles on it, which meant it was way under warranty. We knew that if anything went wrong, we could always just go to the dealership and get it fixed.
Which meant no more pushing a wrench for Frankie.
The grand total bill for this beautiful rig was $42,000.
That's 3 zeros behind. That's 3 zeros behind. That's 3 zeros behind a 42.
Now, we didn't have all the cash to pay for that, so we took a lot of the money from selling our first van.
And the memories that were created in here.
Dumped it into this new one, and then we still have a $30,000 bank loan, which we pay for $500 per month.
The best thing about the first rig was we didn't have a monthly payment. This bad boy's got one.
But for the reliability, we were willing to spend a couple extra bucks. It's basically our rent payment.
I'll take it.
We really need a car wash. Ooh. We just did a cross-country road trip.
The next most expensive part of the van is right here in this quadrant. It is the electrical system. The inverter charger was about $800. And if you want the Victron, it's even more. Just below that is our batteries. We have lithium-ion batteries, 3 of them for 300 amp hours. We found these on Amazon much cheaper than you would get Battleborn, Dakota Lithium, or any of those other big brands out there. We found Waze, or Wise, I don't know how you say it, but they work great, and they were only $500 a piece. The thing about these batteries, they sell really quick. So one moment they're on the market, the next moment they're off. So keep your eyes peeled if you want the cheaper batteries that work just as well. The key component about the batteries is making sure that they're LiFePO4. That way you have the correct BMS system to make sure that you don't overdraw your battery bank. It was extremely important for us to be able to charge our laptops and anything that we would be able to charge in a house. We have 120 outlets all around the house, as well as 12-volt ports to charge our cell phones and other little pieces of equipment. And how do we create all that power? We have solar panels on the roof, as well as a DC to DC charger that powers our battery bank when we're driving. So besides the van, once again, this is the most important and most expensive part of the build. It costs us $3,940 for all the electrical system inside our rig.
A beautiful build like this does not come cheap. Every single nut, bolt, piece of wood, all of the cabinetry that you see, we had to pay for. Except for these two guys, which Andy from Overlanding Interior gave us, and we are so grateful for that. We actually have been pretty lucky throughout the whole van build process that we had some very generous friends and some very generous brands that wanted to work with us. So all of the wood on the walls was actually gifted from Adaptive Humanity. They had it left over from a build site and they told us to use what we wanted. One of the benefits of working with our friends at Adaptive Humanity was also that they had every single tool that you could possibly imagine. We didn't have to invest in table saws and all these random drills and stuff that I don't even know the names of because they're pretty pricey too. But luckily, we got out of the van build with only having to buy minimal amount of tools. A pro tip if you do need a lot of tools tools, you can buy them from the store brand new and then resell them when you're done your van build to recoup some of the cost, or keep your eyes peeled on Facebook Marketplace because you might be able to get some of those resales. All of our random trips to Home Depot and other various hardware stores set us back about $1,800. We got super duper lucky because of adaptive humanity. Because whenever we had like, oh, we're missing this one nut, they just had it. And we were like, great, this is perfect. A big chunk of change. Pro tip for that, get the store credit card. You can return anything up to like a full year after you bought it. So you can buy like 10 different plumbing fittings and then use the one that works and return the other 9. Speaking of plumbing, that's also incredibly expensive.
On the scale of complicated plumbing systems, we're kind of right in the middle. So ours isn't too expensive and it's pretty plain, but we do have water on demand. We start off with our huge water tank. We have 40 gallons to get us off grid for about 2 weeks at a time, and it costs us only $219. That's less expensive than one of the ones that fit over your wheel well, by a lot. And they're only 25 gallons. For our gray water tank, we didn't go out and buy one of those expensive white containers that is like $100 to $200. We actually just bought a 5-gallon catch off of Amazon that you would fill up water with, cut out the side, put a fitting in it, and made it into a gray water system. Between the tank, our heater for our hot water system to take showers, and all the fittings that we needed to make this all possible, it only cost us $400. 2 of the things we got for free, the filters, as well as the base camp heater from Mr. Heater, which has been a blessing to us. Thank you so much. And since we were purchasing most of the stuff off of Amazon, we had huge rewards. We were able to get the Berkey for only $39.
One of the best things about the sink is looking out the window while you do the dishes. But the windows don't come cheap, and we had to install them all ourselves. Between the 2 windows on the side, the fan, the roof hatch, oh my gosh, our budget was hurting. 2 items that we got for free during the van build. The first is all of our insulation from Havelock wool, which is actually amazing, has been so good in the cold weather. And the second is this Ice Cove fridge. This is normally like a $600 fridge that we got for free. When I say we get these items for free, that doesn't mean that we didn't have to work for them. We have to deliver many things in exchange for the free products, which means that we're actually doing a lot of work on the back end to get these things. Now, I know people have been upset about this in the past, but rest assured, we do our best to get you guys free things as well. We've given away so much on our Instagram channel, so be sure to follow there. We have another giveaway coming up soon. And rest assured, we never promote anything that we don't absolutely love and stand by. So if we're telling you it's a good product, it's a good product. One of the items included in the interior budget is the foam for all of the cushions. Getting this custom cut by Foam Factory, Mail Direct, whatever the internet site is not cheap. And then you gotta go buy the fabric and sew it all yourself. If you're paying somebody else to sew it, that's gonna definitely add to your budget.
You guys have seen our shower and bathroom tour, and if you haven't, you should go check it out. But this whole section over here costs about $200. I mean, that's really inexpensive for our bathroom setup. So for our dining room bed setup, we have this pedestal mount that we put our table on, and then we just drop it down, and it turns into a bed. Really simple. This costs us probably just over $100. And the cost for the whole bed area was just wood and paint to make it. So, I don't know, we estimate this probably around $200. Yeah, I think that's about right.
Our full propane setup was actually pretty inexpensive. We have the cooktop, we have the gifted Mr. Heater, and the actual propane tank that we've been using was also a gift from our friend Steven, who gave us a bunch of random odds and ends from his van build, including basically all of the PEX tubing that we used for our plumbing system. One more thing you might think of when you think of propane and heat and fire is the actual heater that we have for our van. We do have a Webasto heater, but instead of spending the double the price for the American one, we used a little trick of the internet and bought one for Russia at half price. We're not counting all of the decor pieces, the very expensive throw pillows, or anything like that. This is just the cost of all of the building supplies. Not that we spent that much money on decor. The ceiling of our van was one of the more expensive features. We wanted the upgraded actual tin ceiling. In our first van, we had styrofoam tiles, which we liked the look of, but didn't like the way that they cleaned or that they weren't magnetic. So now we have the tin ceiling, which is actually phenomenal and we love it, even though it costs like 250 bucks. To make up for the high price of the tiles, we actually got our lighting fairly inexpensive. The 2 rows of LED lights were probably only like 20 bucks each. So rather than having puck lights, we have these great LEDs that can change all different colors, and that's the only lighting that we have, plus the light that came with the van. We have 2 swivel seats. We have 2 swivel seats mounted in the front, both on the passenger and the driver's side. These were very expensive, and we only ever use the passenger side, so I would like my $300 back for the driver's side. Thank you very much.
Right behind this wall, we have the Shore Call Booster, which actually boosts up our signal great, especially when we're in places where we have barely any service. We pop that bad boy on and bam, we could work. The other expensive component of our internet system is the PepWave. The PepWave is about $700 to $800, but this creates a Wi-Fi signal and we can put up to 2 different SD cards in it, whether it's AT&T, T-Mobile, or Verizon, any service. Even if you're in Mexico or in another country, you can pop a SIM card in there and create Wi-Fi in your space. It's been a huge help for us working on the road and allows us to get pretty far off grid before we completely lose our service. We bought our PepWave on Black Friday, which is one thing you should look out for. Always look for the products when they're the cheapest, that way you can save the most money. Link in the description for all the products that we bought for this van. And hey, who knows? They might just be on sale. We already went over the solar panels and everything else on the roof, but this deck is something that we absolutely wanted so we could get outside and enjoy the space even more, get elevated, get to a different point of view, and it's been magnificent having. I'm gonna take you up there.
It's starting to rain, so we gotta do this quickly.
Come on, baby, let's go. Pass them up, pass them up. Man, you guys are pretty good at climbing.
Basically, all the most expensive things in our van are on the roof. Between the hatch, the fan, the PepWave, the solar panels, and all this crazy expensive wood, we put a lot of money outside our van for some crazy reason. Is it snowing?
A little bit.
We gotta get out of here.
Hurry, go, run.
Oh my God, what's happening? It's like hail.
I'm glad I'm under this tree right now.
Another big upgrade we did was for these KO2 tires. Those in themselves were like $1,000.
Even though we're gonna continue talking about the outside, we had to run inside to get away from the craziness of out there.
The tires were a big expense, but they were a very necessary upgrade. This is our home. We wanted to make sure that it was on the most solid, safe shoes that they could possibly be on. And after a full summer in Alaska and touring for like 10,000 miles, these tires have been great.
Yeah, we have the KO2s on the outside of the van. We went with the biggest wheel that we could possibly put on the Promaster. It was about $1,200, but well worth it. Since we got our tires at Discount Tire, it allows us to get tire rotations every 6,000 miles, as well as if there's anything that happens on the road, punctures, anything like that, they'll come out and fix it. Or if you go to another shop, they'll cover the cost.
And we did buy a 5th full-size spare, which is hidden underneath the van.
And if you're gonna be living van life or any type of nomad lifestyle, I would think it's mandatory to get a full size. That way, if you do have to change it, you don't have to worry about immediately replacing it.
Now that you guys have seen everything that went into the van, we're gonna break down all the expenses for you.
In the comments below, I want you guys to guess how much you think that the inside and outside of this van cost. The closest person gets a sticker.
They're gonna know by the end of the video. That doesn't count.
Well, just, you know, we're gonna do trust. We got a trust system here.
All right, guys, between our electrical system, the bed jacks we purchased but never used.
Yeah, it's true. Does somebody want to buy them? Because I'll sell them to you.
Oh my goodness. We did end up with some leftover things that we couldn't return, that we couldn't get rid of. We gave a lot of stuff away at the end of the van build as well. So some of the money in here is just like sunk costs, unfortunately.
But hey, that's part of building anything. Even if you were building a house, you would do the same thing. You would have a lot of leftover stuff, believe me.
We've got our plumbing, building supplies, windows, the side, the 2 back windows, the sound deadening that went behind the walls, as well as the Havelock wool.
Which actually makes a huge difference, the sound deadening.
We talked about how expensive our roof is between the hatch, the fan, the wood, all of the struts up there. We've got our kitchen cooktop and sink and faucet, that whole deal. On top of all the free wood that we got, we also paid for a lot of wood. Luckily, this was before the price of wood completely surged, but at the time we were still paying $50 for a sheet of plywood.
Where in the first rig, we were probably paying like 25 to 30. Life has changed, costs have went up, so what we paid might be a little bit different from what you're going to pay, but this will give you a ballpark idea of what it might cost if you want something that looks pretty similar to this.
We were building this van between November 2020 and May 2021, so really smack dab in the pandemic, but definitely before prices got out of control. The other thing that we did is all of the labor ourselves. We did not pay another human being to come and touch this van at all. The only people who helped out were friends who were willing to give a little bit of their time, or family, and that's it. So we had 0 labor costs except for our own hours and hours and hours of work.
Which is quite a bit of money when you add it all up.
Our total expense for the entire van build, $12,000. Which honestly is pretty reasonable.
I feel like that's fair. We wanted to go this route because we wanted to feel like we're in a home for as long as we're possibly gonna do this. We don't know when it's gonna end. On the market today, a van like this, if you had it built, would go anywhere from $80,000 to $120,000.
Whereas our total costs with the van and building everything takes us to a grand total of $54,000.
Which is a decent amount, but remind you, we are financing the van, so we'll be paying off this van for quite some time, as well as everything else was paid for upfront from us with cash. We ate all the costs. We don't have to worry about paying anything back except for the van itself.
We don't want anybody to go into debt building a van, so obviously the debt of the vehicle is something that a lot of people do. They finance their vehicles, but you do not want to put your entire $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 bill on a credit card.
No, please do not do that. Be financially responsible when you are getting into this lifestyle. If that means building something at a lot lower cost, do it. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
And if you want to know how we saved up to build both of our vans, be sure to check out our book. It's available for sale on Amazon, How to Go From Your Daydream to Your Dream Life Living in a Van.
I mean, look, we did.
Twice! If you haven't seen the rest of our deep dive van build series, be sure to look over here because you'll see where all that money went into the build.
And we hope that you guys have an F&A day.